Hello and welcome to another painting video. In this one, I'll be painting a trio of witches. I absolutely love witches, and I've had my eye on this Moonstone set for a long time. It's such a fun interpretation of the classic trio, the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone. I want each witch to have their own distinct personality. Antonia should feel earthy and warm. Zorya needs a pale woodland spirit vibe, and Danica, she's gonna look like something straight out of the soggy bog of doom. Let's begin, shall we? After priming the models black, I sprayed them with Dark Plum from Pro Acryl, followed by a zenithal highlight of Dark Ivory, also from Pro Acryl. This helps bring out all the details before we begin painting. I'm starting with Antonia's warm rosy skin. I base coat with Moonstone skin from the Army Painter. Then I shade with Warm Skin Shade, which complements the base really nicely. Next I build up the highlights. First with Ruby Skin on the raised areas, followed by Opal Skin. I finish off with Pearl Skin as the final highlight. The skin triad from the Army Painter gives a lovely warm tone. You really notice the difference when I paint Zorya's skin later using Citadel paints. To add more depth, I resashade certain areas with Berserker Bloodshade. I'll return to do some facial details later. For some visual variety, I'm painting her shirt and skirt in different earthy tones. I base coat the shirt with Doombull Brown, and then layer Tuskgore fur onto the raised areas. To warm it up, I introduce Scrag Brown, enhancing the warmth. Then Deathclaw Brown, and finish with a highlight of Deathclaw Brown mixed with a touch of Ice Yellow. For the skirt, I start with Wildwood, a contrast paint that acts as both a base coat and a shade. Then I layer with Gorthor Brown, and highlight with Baneblade Brown for that nice earthy feel. To balance out the warm tones, I'm painting the Apron Green. I start with Deathworld Forest, then layer with Ogryn Camo, and highlight with Creek Khaki. To deepen the shadows, I use Athonian Camoshade. Her little scarf is base coated with Celestra Grey, shaded with Soulblight Grey, and highlighted with Ulthuan Grey for a soft off-white look. For the blonde hair, I start with a base coat of Dryad Bark. Then I mix in Averland Sunset and layer onto the raised strands. I keep adding more Averland Sunset to the mix in steps. And finally add Ice Yellow to highlight the tips. One last layer with even more Ice Yellow, and we got some quick and easy blonde hair. For the pot, I'm going with a dark metallic look. I begin with Iron Hand Steel, and then highlight with Runefang Steel. Next, I glaze the whole thing with Black Templar. This tints the metal, but lets some metallic paint shine through. I re-highlight with Iron Hand Steel to bring back some metallic edges. Inside the pot, I paint the contents white, including the inner rim. Then I layer on Fluor Turquoise from Green Stuff World. It's a watery paint, but reacts really well with the white base. To enhance the toxic look, I add Hexwraith Flame to make it pop. Let's wrap up Antonia with some details. The leather straps are painted with Gorgontra fur. Small details like this is perfect for contrast paints. The wooden branches on her back are painted with snakebite leather. The little pot on her belt is base coated with blue horror and painted with Hexwraith Flame for a weird green liquid effect. I add a light reflection with white and use white for the eyes as well. To blend the eyes a little bit better into the face, I shade around the eyes with warm Fleshade. Then I dot the pupils with Corvus Black. I'm painting Zorya's skin with Citadel paints to get a paler look. I base coat with Cadian Fleshtone and shade with Akhelian Fleshade. Then I layer with a mix of Cadian Fleshtone and Kislev Flesh. I highlight with a mix of Kislev Flesh and Flayed One Flesh, followed by a final highlight of just Flayed One Flesh for a soft, pale complexion. Her dress starts with Woodland Camo, layered with Camouflage Green, and then Necrotic Flesh. I highlight with a mix of Necrotic Flesh and Ice Yellow. Her corset gets base coated with Ochre, shaded with Seraphim Sepia, then layered with a mix of Ochre and Ice Yellow. The last highlight is the same mix as before, but with more Ice Yellow. Let's paint some red hair. I start with a base coat of Doombull Brown, which is a lovely reddish brown. Then dry brush successfully with Molten Lava, Burning Ore, Lava Orange, and I finish with Glowing Inferno for a fiery effect. Her apron is base coated with Wasdaka Red, then layered with a mix of Wasdaka Red and Pink Horror. I add a layer of Pink Horror mixed with Emperor's Children, and finish with a highlight of pure Emperor's Children. On to the final witch. I want Danica to look absolutely gross. Her skin starts with Rakarth Flesh, and then shaded with Targor Rage Shade. I layer with a mix of Rakarth Flesh and Palace Witch Flesh, stippling it on for a rough texture. Then I add more Palace Witch Flesh to the previous mix for another layer, and I finish with a highlight of pure Palace Witch Flesh. To make her look truly nasty, I glaze her with Mortarian Grime. This is a subtle, dirty green that works beautifully with that sickly skin tone. Her dress, or what I think is her dress, is base coated with Tenebrous Grey, and then layered with Leather Brown. Now this might be a strange combo, but it will work. I mix in Light Earth for the next layer. And then I add Ochre to the previous mix to highlight the dirty rags. The bones on her dress get a highlight of Ushabti Bone, and I paint the belt with Cygor Brown. Her greasy hair starts with Black Templar, then gets layered with Dark Reaper, Thunderhawk Blue, and Pharisian Grey to give it the hair a little bit of a greasy shine. Her big eyes and teeth are base coated with white. I shade the eyes with Tyran Blue. This really pops and really brightens the eyes. The teeth get a coat of Yenden yellow to make them look rotten and disgusting. And finally, I apply an enamel wash of Coelia Green from Villainy inks on the whole model. If you overdo it, no worries, it's easy to remove with some white spirit. To match the witches with the rest of my Lechevold crew, I'm setting them in a spooky nighttime forest. With the zenithal still in place, I shade the trees and rocks with Targor Raid Shade. Layer with Ash Grey, and highlight with Company Grey for a ethereal feel. Then I airbrush turquoise green ink over the bushes and grass. Don't worry if you catch parts of the model. It all adds to the effect and makes everything feel more immersed in the scenery. I darken a few spots with turquoise blue. And for Danica's murky bog, which I used a water gel for, I paint that with Akhelian Green to get a dark, wet, soggy look. I dry brushed the grass with Baharroth Blue, and then again with a mix of Baharroth Blue and Palace Witch Flesh. Finally, I paint the rim of the base with Corvus Black, and we're done. And here they are, the witches. A surprisingly tricky troop to play, but I absolutely love the models. Each one looks unique and fits the theme perfectly. I've got more Moonstone tutorials coming up, especially from the Lechevold faction. It's really captured my imagination lately. But before that, I'm heading back to my wall of speed freaks. I've been painting war bikers in between projects, and I'm planning a video on painting the Devkilla war trike. I want to show you how I paint my orc vehicles and highlight any changes I made to my scheme. In the meantime, be sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram for behind the scenes content and project updates. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thanks for watching.